What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, we are looking at the top 5 teams in the world. This is not clickbait. I am not top 5. I'm not pretending to be. I'm about 88k. Hopefully, at some point, one day over the next few years, I'll be top 5. But it ain't right now. So we're going to look through kind of what similar players they've got, what kind of strategies they're going for, whether they've got a cheap bench, a playing bench, etc., what their next moves might be, and how well they're set up moving forward, basically. Obviously, they've got into a good position already, happy days, but now you need a bit of luck to maintain that until game week 38. So if you do enjoy the video, please do give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. We are less than 1,500 people away from hitting that 250k target. We can get there by the game week 12 deadline. There's enough people watching who aren't subscribed. Just go and click that button, all right? It make me a happy person. If you've been enjoying the content, make sure you do. So this is going to be like a one-take type of thing. We're just going to go through team by team. But I did look at the top 5 teams before we go a bit more in depth about the squads themselves, which players were most common. Now, obviously, one thing to take into account is these teams are at the top because they've had the players that have been performing either so far this season or especially in recent weeks. So it makes sense that these players would appear in these teams, right? That's not to say that they're bad moving forward, but if you think there's a different player over the next 5 weeks who's going to outperform one of these, then maybe it's best to get them in your team rather than these players. Obviously, a lot of these have performed well recently. So the only players in every single team were Cancelo, Trent and Salah, which is interesting on Cancelo, especially given how Chelsea defence has been. I think every single one of them does have a Chelsea defender, but they're split. Either some of them have got James and Chilwell, or some of them have got one or the other. Right? There's not 5 teams with both with James or 5 teams with Chilwell. Although James gets very close, as you can see. Tony's only in 2 teams, and Bomo in 3, and Foden in 3 as well. So let's start off with the world number 1. First of all, congratulations! It must feel amazing to be this high, even if obviously you want to be number 1 in game week 38, but to be there at any point in the season gives you a good platform. Anyone that's in the top 100 right now is absolutely loving life. So number 1 is Daniel, 63 points in game week 11. So if we have a quick look at the history, he's been number 1 for 3 weeks now. I've told this story before. I had a friend who was number 1 for like 17 game weeks, out of, not necessarily in a row, but out of the whole season was number 1 for 17 game weeks. And in the last 3 weeks, he ended up being 8th overall, which was gutting. So it is difficult to stay at the top. So been number 1 for 3 weeks, 5th and 6th before that. So doing really well. Had a great start to the season with 101 points. Sanchez in goal, obviously he's suspended now, but he wasn't back then. Went for the Simicast. Had Greenwood from the off, who was really good as well. Fernandes, obviously not captain, but a lot of people went for Salah over Fernandes captain. As long as you had Fernandes, it was good. And went for the decent 3-4-3 setup with Danny Ings as well. So it was a pretty nice start. And as you'd imagine, right, these teams at the top are going to have had good game weeks going forward. The worst game week rank this person has had is 2.2 million back in game week 4. But after that, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 sub 100,000 game week ranks. That's massive, right? You can keep that up. You'll easily win FPL. So looking at the team, I think this is very common. And I think it's a bit of a myth that you need to go different to catch these people up. There's still a lot of weeks left. There's a lot of times to go different. If you think that Trent, Cancelo, Chilwell and or James is the way forward, you should definitely stick with them and just hope that other positions possibly are the way, you know, to get a differential, like to get ahead of the crowd. This team is kind of I mean, they're all going to be fairly template, right? We just discussed the players. But Rafinha's still in there. Great choice to keep him. Definitely a mistake I made. Went for Vardy as well. Interesting to see when they went for Vardy. Let's go to transfer history, which I now cannot find. This is why you shouldn't do it on the fly. So Vardy, I bet, came in game week... No, not in game week 9. Came in game week 5. Wow. So I had him all the way through. Fair play. And obviously keeping now. It'd be interesting to see whether this person moves for a Spurs player. That does seem to be the next port of call. I mean, Vardy down to a cheaper striker, maybe Antonio could work, but it's difficult to upgrade in Bomo, Rafinha, Salah or Jota to another Spurs player. So I don't know, it doesn't show. 2.1 in the bank. Okay, I think Vardy to Kane is happening with this team in one move. So pretty nicely set up. Nothing really out of the ordinary. I like the fact that Jota's already in there. That is a discussion point, I think, for later on this international break. Is for some people it's going to be like Son plus a cheap striker, or Vardy or Kane versus Jota. And I think the Jota and Kane move is pretty nice because if Firmino's going to be out, then Jota is a great pick moving forward. And then, like I said before, if African Cup of Nations happens, then boom, Jota's going to be nailed even longer, and he's such a good price. It feels like a good opportunity. So this team is well set up. Again, if you're doing well, basically when you do well at the start of the season, everything kind of snowballs because you've done well. So straight away, you've already... I'm not saying these top 5 have not made great decisions, because obviously they have, but you've already got the players in that are doing well. So you're one step ahead of everyone else. Because you've already got those players in as well, the prices are rising, so you're not really worried about being priced out or anything like that. And so to have 2.1 million in the bank and be able to move from Vardy to Kane is pretty damn nice. So this team is set up. I don't know if they've got 1 or 2 transfers. I'm not going to work it out right now. But I think Vardy to Kane and then roll, even if you've got 2 free transfers, looks pretty nice. Not that you need to be taking advice from me, by the way. And like I said yesterday on a video, I don't think Mboma or Tony need to be moved on. So pretty decent. I also love the fact you've got Sanchez and Ramsdale. That rotation is not that bad. And obviously you've skipped the red card for Sanchez. You've got Ramsdale. You can just play him again this week. So team is looking really good, right? Let's go to world number 2. Okay, so this is FPL Focal. I think he had his name here before, but smart strategy, put your YouTube channel in. That's what most of us do. I can't remember what his name is. I apologise. I could go and look it up. I want to keep going on this in one take. But yeah, FPL Focal. You can go and search for him on YouTube. Don't forget about me when he's winning FPL. That's all I'm saying. Go and watch him, but don't forget about me. So he played a genius bench boost. Now, a lot of people asked me about bench boosting this week, and I wasn't like fully against it, but I would never have done it myself. And again, you need a bit of luck, right? Foster concedes. He ends up getting a penalty save though as well, plus bonus points. That is the kind of luck you need. And there's nothing wrong with saying that you need a bit of luck in FPL, right? Your skill and your research in picking players can only get you so far. After that, luck comes in. And what a bench boost this was. I mean, Chilwell conceding that goal as well against Burnley. If that hadn't gone in, this would have been massive. So I love it. And it's not even like a... The players that have been played are probably the ones that you would play, right? So it's definitely a genuine bench boost, and it's worked really well. And let's just see how far that took him up. So from 323rd, so already doing really, really well, straight up to second place. That is what dreams are made of. And it's been a pretty quick ascension, right, to the top rank. So 122k in Game Week 5, right up to second place in Game Week 11. Now, those kind of jumps in rank are a little bit easier to do at this stage of the season. I think it would be much harder now if you were ranked 122k to in the same time go to second place. But it's possible if you nail all the right decisions. Like if we go to transfer history, so Son came in Game Week 11 and Chilwell, so nicely set up for future game weeks. Lukaku to Tony in Game Week 9. That is a move I wish I'd made. I haven't gone back and worked out how many more points I would have, but it would have left me in a better place to be able to make future transfers. I wouldn't have taken any hits. I would have kept Rafinha. So that was a really nice move. Hwang out for Adam Armstrong. Obviously, Adam Armstrong did then miss some games, but in Game Week 11, 9 points. And also, going forward, Norwich away this week. And I would assume then just goes on the bench most weeks, because with this team, like next week, you can easily play that back three again. Trent, Cancelo, James, very popular, and play Chilwell, or even play Livramento. And if Armstrong's not going to play, or you think he's not going to, you can just leave him out. So the only there's not even. I mean, it's going to be very hard to find and pick faults with these teams, right? Because they're top 5. But this one's really difficult because you can easily play 4-4-2 when you want to. You've already got that Spurs player in. I really think keeping Foden for the medium term is a good pick. Rafinha, there's no reason to really get rid of him. Again, I know it was a mistake. You definitely keep him for this run of 4 fixtures, I think, and then you can maybe look at getting rid. And this is the perfect swap in Game Week 16 to Bowen at West Ham. He's a little bit cheaper. You could, at the time, make a call just to keep Rafinha the whole way through, because he's never going to be a priority transfer. He's always going to be great value. But this team is really nicely set up. I'm trying to think of players that you could bring in soon. I guess long-term strategy to get a Man United player, but again, we're not looking at that until Game Week 16. Nothing in the bank, but I don't think that's a huge issue. Like at some point, you could reduce a midfielder down, because the way this squad is set up, and the way a lot of squads are set up at the moment that are doing really well, is they've got like almost like a full playing 15. So you can bench Smith Rowe and play 3-4-3 and bench Chilwell. You can play Chilwell and play 4-3-3 or 4-4-2. And it's nice and flexible in moving forward, as long as you don't panic and think you have to get certain players in. So I really like it. I think it does make it tricky with benching decisions every week, but you've nailed it with a bench boost, and the team looks great. So yeah, FPL Focal on YouTube. Just like I said, don't forget about me, all right? Don't forget about me, even if I am only 88k. Then we've got the world number 3, sorry. Tabes, 76 points. Very similar setup again. Similar kind of defense. I guess the key question is, where are these people going to move next? And I don't think they have to. I don't think they have to force any particular kind of move, especially if you've already got Spurs players in place. They're one step ahead of the game. The only kind of fixture swings that are kind of coming up based on the video yesterday, you got Man City. You could add an extra maybe Man City attacker, but again, it's very difficult to fit in with the way these squads are set up right now. Obviously, Armstrong in there. Kane's already in place. I bet Kane came in Game Week 9. Surely at some point someone did the Game Week 9. Yeah, Lukaku to Kane transfer. And the thing is, if you did that move, okay, it's been frustrating because Kane hasn't got many points, but he also hasn't punished you, right? Vardy hasn't done anything. Tony hasn't done anything. They were the 2 players that people moved to. Some probably went to Ronaldo, but apart from that, it hasn't been too bad. The only questionable move is Game Week 8 mounts a Rafinha, and then in Game Week 11, just to not burn a transfer, Rafinha to Brownhill. What could you have done instead? Let me think on the fly what you could have done instead. But the thing is, he's got Burnley and Norwich soon, so you don't really want to get rid of him. You can't really get rid of any of the defence. Could have maybe made a goalkeeper change, but then that would have hurt because McCarthy just got 9 points. So that's tricky. I mean, the thing is, 76 points last week was pretty good, so you haven't massively lost out by bringing Brownhill in, because probably you've played that back 5 because of taking Rafinha out. So there's a bit of money left over. This team's got 3.1 in the bank. How has it got 3.1 million in the bank? It's got the back 4 that everyone wants. It's got Kane, it's got Salah. I guess there's no Antonio. Or Jimenez or someone like that, but that can be rectified. You let Hwang play Norwich and Burnley, then you swap him out and you probably just swap him straight to Antonio and get the job done, right? So this, again, is a really nice team moving forward. The Rafinha to Brownhill move was a little bit questionable, but I get it. He didn't want to burn a transfer. But again, that's the kind of situation these players are in. They've already got all the players that everyone else wants, so they're having to make tough decisions. I guess Mbomo to Brownhill could have been another one, but the fixtures coming up are pretty good. So I don't hate that move. You can always rectify it. You can always bring Rafinha back. This week's move is going to be tricky. I mean, Salah's got Liverpool away, so you could move him on with a 3.1 million. Possibly, to be honest, I already know what I'm doing with this squad. I'm doing Saka to Jota this week, as long as Firmino's ruled out for a little while. And I'm probably playing, 4-4-2 maybe, and just choose one of the defenders to bench. Maybe Livramento, I don't know. Maybe Armstrong if we think that Adams and Broya is going to play. But I think with that much money in the bank, Saka to Jota, and again, you just roll the transfer another week. Happy freaking days. Okay, world number 4. These teams are obviously very similar, so we'll start going through them a bit quicker. Again, another nice bench boost. Brownhill, the only one to bang. Armstrong, great. Livramento, great. Foster, obviously, that penalty save. It's like when I bench boosted a couple of seasons ago, and Dwight McNeil, who never really gets double-digit hauls, got 14 points for me and could have had 17. You just need some luck sometimes. So Foster penalty save, very nice. Went from 158th all the way up to 4th. And to be fair, what a start to the season. 14k overall rank in Game Week 1, and then has basically maintained that the whole way through. I mean, went back to 14k in Game Week 5, but this is a really nice run. Fourth place, really good. 1 million in the bank. So this person's slightly different to some of the others that hasn't already got a Spurs player in place. So you can do it, I mean, with Havertz as well. Like, having that Havertz position in there and already owning Rafinha, it doesn't necessarily make this decision easy, but it definitely gives you a good decision to make, because you can easily go to Son or to Kane. So you can either, I think the money works. I'm not going to completely work it out, but Havertz down to Jota would give about, they'd only give about 500,000, wouldn't it? So you might have to take a hit. I don't know how many transfers you got. Let's have a look at recent transfers. As if I'm giving advice to the top 5, by the way. So, yeah, hasn't rolled a transfer. So, Lukaku to Vardy, Townsend to Havertz, nice. So this week, yeah, maybe needs to find a way to Jota. It depends whether you want to keep Vardy. I mean, you could keep Vardy and go against everyone going for Spurs players, but Havertz down to a cheap player and Vardy up to Kane, or Vardy down to a cheaper striker and then Havertz up to Son. They are definitely the two moves to be looking at this week. Interestingly, long term, this is more of a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 it could move into because it hasn't got the second Chelsea defender. I am very much weighing up myself now whether it's worth bringing in that second Chelsea defender before Leicester, Man United, West Ham away in the next 4. I know how good Chelsea are. I just don't know if this is the right time to bring them in. So you could keep this structure. You could even go Vardy down to, I don't know, someone like Tony, and then, I don't know, try and get Brownhill up to kind of Son, something like that. You might have to take a hit to do that. But again, nothing to panic about. The team looks really good. The bench boost was great. If you want to play Armstrong this week, you can against Norwich. I think Havertz is probably the issue once Lukaku's back. So let's wait and see if he's available after the international break. But there's not necessarily a rush on that if Lukaku's not back. But yeah, I think Spurs player here as well. There's not much else to do. If you wanted to keep Vardy, then Havertz down to Jota. Again, job done, move on. Let's go on to the world number 5. So this person, give him a shout out, Samir, up the Chelsea, Chelsea badge, Chelsea kit, double Chelsea defence, fair enough. That's pretty decent. Antonio on the bench, nice decision. And again, moving forward, already got that Son spot in there, so I'm guessing Antonio comes back in this week. Very hard to choose who to bench. I guess Smith Rowe against Liverpool away. And again, this is a fairly standard setup, right? You've got the really cheap Williams. By the way, if you're thinking about players that are must own, right? Think how many times you've commented on my video saying you're an idiot. You've not necessarily said an idiot, but you shouldn't be benching Livramento all the time. Why aren't you playing Livramento? Why aren't you playing Livramento? This person's 5th in the world. They don't even own Livramento, right? They're not worried about benching him because they don't even own him. So you have Williams, you let him rot away on the bench like I'm doing with Livramento basically. You've got Allen, where I've got Brownhill. The rest of the team setup is pretty good. So already having Smith Rowe over Saka was nice. Obviously keeping Rafinha was nice. No Foden here, so that is a player that maybe you could look at soon. But again, because this person's ahead of the curve, they've got Son and Vardy at a nice price, and they've already got Hwang in to take a little bit of money out of the forward line, which means you can have all those players in with that defence. I guess, yeah, the only thing that kind of is going to be difficult is benching decisions. But I think this week, Smith Rowe gets benched, Antonio gets played. You could pretty much roll a transfer. I don't know if... Yeah, 0.6 in the bank, so not a huge amount. Last week was Ben Rama to Smith Rowe, nice move. Week before was Marcel to James, nice move. Lukaku to Vardy, okay, it hasn't worked, but fair enough, a lot of people did it. Interestingly, used a transfer on a goalkeeper, Sanchez to McCarthy. McCarthy's done really well. I don't know whether that works out long term. The Southampton defence is okay, but obviously Liverpool away coming up. I mean, I think you probably do just keep him. So again, nicely set up. I'm trying to find issues. There aren't really, are there? I mean, these people are top 5 in the world. I like the fact you've got Vardy and Son. I think you just hold Vardy through now, and you've got Salah as well. There ain't much to do here. Like I said, Antonio plays, Smith Rowe gets benched, and then you worry about your transfer in game week 13. So there we go. I just wanted to go through the top 5, just run through it. Let me know what you think about this kind of video. Would there have been more stuff you wanted me to go into? But going forward, I think it's going to be difficult right now to completely differentiate our teams versus those that are ahead of us, because a lot of people are very clued into the defence. And I think the other problem is a lot of people have got kind of flexible squads, which is really helping. And there's not really any reason to massively go bet against that. Like, those defenders are locked in. Cancelo, Trent, and one of Chelsea, or if not both, they're completely locked in. So is Salah. So is a Spurs player. Antonio will come back into the reckoning if he stays fit. So it's going to be difficult to differentiate. So we have to just kind of keep patient over the next few weeks and see what happens. You almost want something kind of major to happen, like a not that you'd wish injury on someone, like a big injury or a suspension or something like that, just to mix the template up a bit. But as I always say, it's a myth to think that you have to go fully differential to kind of catch these players up. Just bide your time. A lot of weeks to go. Let me know what you think. But those top 5, enjoy it. Maybe there has been a bit of luck along the way, but now is the time just to kind of dig in and try and keep that place, which I'm sure most of you will do. So if you did like it, if you did like it, did I say didn't? If you did like it, give it a like. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. And I'll be back tomorrow, probably with a wildcard video, because I've seen a few people asking. So check that out, same time tomorrow.